The First, Fourth, Fifth, and 14th Amendments safeguard privacy interests relevant to search and seizure of one's person or personal effects.
However, the Fourth Amendment is known as the heart of privacy protection and is therefore central in any discussion.
New developments in the Aaron Hernandez murder case. A judge has seized the former New England Patriots' North Attleboro mansion while a wrongful death civil suit is pending against him. The judge attached the order at the request of Odin Lloyd's family during a hearing today. Hernandez is charged with killing Lloyd in June. Lloyd was found shot to death in an industrial park area near Hernandez's home. The Lloyd family has filed a civil suit against Hernandez and asked that more than $3 million owed to the football player in back pay be blocked. In court today, a lawyer for the New England Patriots said the team would not pay Hernandez the money, even if the players' union prevails in the dispute. Hernandez's lawyer said he did not object to the order attaching the mansion, but reserved the right to revisit the matter later. Hernandez has pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder charges. I'm Mike Bello for the Boston Globe.
Police sorted through bags of items retrieved from the home of New England Patriots football player Aaron Hernandez amid a deepening investigation into last week's shooting death of a 27-year-old man.
State police officers and dogs are searching the home of New England's Patriot tight end Aaron Hernandez as they investigate the killing of a semi-pro football player whose body was found nearby.
Police entered the home of Aaron Hernandez for the second time this week in connection to the homicide of Odin Lloyd. Law enforcement arrived to Hernandez's Massachusetts home with 2 police dogs and what appeared to be evidence-gathering equipment.
In the clip you just saw, Aaron Hernandez, who was a tight end for the New England Patriots before he was charged with murder, had his mansion seized by the courts as part of a pending wrongful death lawsuit. The judge put Hernandez's $1 million house on hold so he couldn't sell it and make money while the wrongful death case unfolded. Search is when a state or federal law authority feels like they have a probable cause to search a home, car, or person. In order for a legal search to happen, a search warrant must be issued by the judge.
Seizure is when a state or federal law authority physically apprehends an item belonging to a person or a group, such as a house, car, or personal belongings. Law authorities must have legitimate expectations or probable cause to seize an item.
Homeownership is still very much the thread that stitches together the hopes of so many people in this country. But as our Pamela Brown reports, some in Philadelphia are losing their homes they worked so hard to build, and it has nothing to do with being able to pay their mortgages.
I built this house with my own hands. I'm a working guy. I work every day, 6 days a week, 7 days if I have to.
For 8 years, Christo Sorvelis, who built his own painting business,
I built the oven for pizza and barbecue,
has also been toiling away on his family's dream house in the suburbs of Philadelphia.
I was so upset thinking somebody's gonna come over and take my house for nothing. That makes me crazy.
Without warning, Sorvelis says Philadelphia police and prosecutors seized his house.
I was going nuts. I said, what do you mean?
He and his wife, Markella, have never been charged with a crime or even accused of any wrongdoing.
It was horrible, horrible.
And the nightmare began in March when police showed up at the house.
By the time I got to the door, they had already opened the door with his hand in and had a gun to my dog's head.
Police arrested their 22-year-old son, Yanni, on drug charges, $40 worth of heroin, and claim he was selling drugs out of the home.
I didn't know what he was doing. I'm not with him 24 hours a day.
A month and a half later,
they said that we're going to seize your house.
They came back.
They had a sledgehammer. We're going to break down your walls. We're going to break your pipes. This house is going to be ours. And as he was explaining to me what was going on, there was people closing the doors with screws, locking them. They had the electric company here to turn off my electric, my gas.
Police and prosecutors came armed with a lawsuit against the house itself. It was being forfeited and transferred to the custody of the Philadelphia District Attorney, all because of their son's first offense drug charges. Yanni pleaded no contest.
It was scary. It was frustrating.
I said, listen, this house belongs to me. Nothing to do with my son.
But that didn't matter. Police and prosecutors kicked them and their children out that day.
And where I'm going to go? What I'm going to do with my two daughters, my wife, the dog, me, where are we going?
They say they faced a prosecutor from the DA's office.
It's not a courtroom. It's no judge, it's nobody. It's just one guy tell us to sign these papers and fill up these papers. That's it.
Back in their home, they had to make a heartbreaking sacrifice and agree to ban their son from the house.
We're going to do everything we can, and it's a horrible feeling not to be able to have my child home.
The Sorovellases are still fighting the city to resolve their case and keep their home.
It's a nightmare that just won't go away, and it's scary. It's horrible.
Remember that state action is a person or group acting on behalf of the government. The NCA is considered a private action and not a state action, so they are not subject to the Fourth Amendment.
Probable cause is a reasonable belief that a crime has, is, or will be committed by an individual. This belief must be based on facts and not a hunch or suspicion.
Reasonable suspicion is when an officer can stop a person suspected of being involved in a criminal act at the time, but he or she must have justifiable suspicion based on specific facts.
An example of reasonable suspicion would be seeing an individual walking around in a hood with a baseball bat looking through car windows, compared to seeing somebody walking towards their own car wearing a baseball uniform carrying a baseball bat.
All right, let's review what we've seen thus far. Our victim is standing innocently in the parking lot of a liquor store when he's approached by a man who eventually identifies himself as a police officer, who demands to see what the victim is drinking. Now, that insofar as we've gone so far, that's not a bad thing, because many states have a law that prohibit people from consuming alcohol on the premises, in the parking lot, for instance, of a licensed establishment that sells alcohol. So, under state law, the officer may very well have the authority, the grounds to inquire as to what a person is drinking while they're on the grounds of the licensed alcohol selling establishment. The police officer walks up and he does exactly that. Now, I think most Americans, up to this moment, would have no problem with the police officer's conduct. However, our victim shows him the can, clearly says Arizona iced tea. He actually turns the can around directly in front of the police officer's eyes and shows the police officers the ingredients on the back, thus validating to the police officer that there is no alcohol in the product. At that moment in time, once the police officer has seen that the product has no alcohol, he loses all legal authority to go further. However, he chooses to go further anyway, and he demands to take possession of the victim's property. Now, in law, that's called a seizure. And in certain cases, a police officer may seize or search or both an item, provided that he has something called reasonable suspicion. Now, this brings us squarely to the moment where we have to discuss what the law says reasonable suspicion is. So, the definition of reasonable suspicion is an objectively justifiable suspicion that is based on specific facts or circumstances that justifies a peace officer stopping a person thought to be involved in a criminal activity at the time. Another definition is a police officer possesses reasonable suspicion if he has enough knowledge to lead a reasonably cautious person to believe that criminal activity is occurring and that the individual played some part in it.
How's it going? What kind of vehicle is that?
This?
Yeah.
We're with the field force unit. We train for like.
I'm audio and video recording. Okay. Just wanted to know.
Yeah, we do like train for like riots and respond to like mass destruction events, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
So we keep all our equipment and stuff in here.
Okay. That's cool. I was wondering if it was one of those backscatter things or something like that. One of those new contraptions they're coming out with.
No. We just keep all shields and batons and stuff like that in here, medical stuff.
All right.
You guys, once a month we'll train out at Cecil Field and stuff. So that's what we're doing.
That's cool. That's cool. I was just getting some footage of it. Pretty cool. I didn't know what it was. I've never seen one.
You got an ID or driver's license on yourself?
Yeah.
You see it with us?
Nope. Not gonna do it. What's your name and badge number?
Officer Carlson, ID 7345.
Okay. Am I being detained or free to go?
Free to go whenever you want to.
Thank you, sir. Why do you want to know get my ID and everything? I was just over there filming the horses.
Just like to identify people I'm talking to.
Okay. All right. Have a good one.
In this video, it demonstrates probable cause. The man was just filming the sheriff's horses, and some of them decided to walk up. One of the sheriffs asked to see his ID, but because the sheriff didn't have probable cause, the man did not have to show it to him.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
How you doing, sir?
Hi, may I have a business card?
Yeah, sure. Can I get one from you, sir?
No.
Why not?
May I have a business card?
Can I get one from you, sir?
No.
Can we get one from you?
No.
Why not?
You guys are public officers. You have to identify yourself.
Oh, my name's Elliot Musio. My star number's 19416.
May I get a close-up on your badge number?
You have some identification, sir?
No.
You have nothing? Take it out of your pocket, please.
Excuse me, I don't consent to searches. I don't consent to searches. This is illegal. This is illegal what you're doing, sir.
I'm just
This is
checking you for
illegal.
weapons.
This is illegal.
Can I check you for weapons?
No, you cannot. No, you may not. This is illegal. I do not consent to
sir?
search.
You can't keep your hands in your pockets, though. That's very
My
dangerous.
hands are not in my pockets.
Your hand was in your pocket
May
when
I have
you came
my
up
light
to
back,
us.
please? That is
Of
my
course, I'll give
property.
it back to you when I'm
You don't
done.
have any right to be holding that, sir.
Oh, sure we do.
Yes, I do.
When you're flashing in our faces, it's like a strobe light like this.
May I hold your light?
When you do that,
I don't have one.
you can't do that.
May I have that back?
You sure can. Here you go.
Thanks.
You
You're
came
welcome.
under. Who are you, by the way?
Here,
Who are you?
right here. Musio. Here's my star number.
You guys are being very unprofessional.
Do you have... Who are you, sir? Can I use your name, please?
No.
I'm going to tell you for the last time.
Okay, am I being detained?
No, you're not being detained.
Okay, thank you.